Alright, hello and welcome everyone. This is Gump and I want to talk about DZ06 today in the 200 plus gear score because essentially it is a different area of the game now. What I have now in the game is PvE builds that exist in the outside world, which were the builds that I ran before 1.2 came out. Those builds I will still run in the outside world because I still think those are the best builds for those areas. I don't think anything's changed with that. I think we've pretty much came up with the best things that we can do. I don't think any of the new gear sets are really going to change that for me. I don't think the gear sets are changing that for a lot of people. So I'm keeping my builds pretty much the same outside of here. A lot of people have been asking what I'm doing with my builds. Have I changed them with 1.2? And so what I'm saying is that essentially now we have two different types of PvE builds. One for the open world challenge missions, those types of things. Then we have our PvP complete builds, which are just for killing people. I don't really do that, but you know, there's a lot of people who do. Most of those people are stuck in DZ01 and 02 PvPing right now because those builds don't work very well in DZ06. And so that's why I'm saying that most people, and what most people probably already are, and what you should be doing is focusing on creating builds specifically designed to run DZ06 as if it's its own mission itself, just like you may have done for Falcon Lost when it came out, because the content is that hard up here. So I'm going to talk about what I did with my tank build here, but first I want to talk about why is it that this area is so different than everything else, and why are our 1.1 builds so ineffective here, but I can walk right back down to DZ03 and go solo that shit all day and crush it. And the main reason is exactly what I was talking about just a video or two ago when I was talking about them increasing damage mitigation, and how increasing damage mitigation is going to potentially, or definitely in my opinion, cause people to be more reliant upon SMGs than before, and actually giving people more damage mitigation is actually increases your DPS as an SMG user because it allows you to get closer in the range of your target and do headshots and be more accurate. And that is one of the reasons you see a lot of people standing face to face in the game, is because of the amount of damage mitigation that exists. So what does that have to do with what's going on in DZ06? Well, I think DZ06 is perfect proof of everything that I said, and it's just showing itself in a different way. And that's because it's showing itself through a different type of mitigation, through the exotic damage mitigation. And that was the biggest weaknesses to almost everyone's DPS builds that they had before. The problem was it was really hard to exploit that in PvP outside of, well, actually it was being exploited by some. That's why the explosive bullets work so well, and why some of those sticky bombs work so well. And then people started putting a little bit exotic damage on, but they didn't put a lot on. There's no comparison to explosive bullets and the damage that we do with exotic damage compared to what these NPCs, these level 34 guys, are doing with flamethrowers. And I think that's what you're seeing, along with the fact that these guys are now doing essentially to us what we were once doing to them. They are more tanky than we are because they have tons of damage mitigation. So what do? They can get into our faces with their shotguns and their flamethrowers, which we have almost no damage mitigation for in 1.1. And they melted us when we first came in here. And so everyone said, holy shit, that area is really, really hard. But really what was going on was it was just exploiting one of the biggest problems we had with our character builds, because we haven't dealt with that type of damage, especially exotic damage, in that way previously in the game. So there was not much of a need for us to really have, you know, 70, 80, 90% exotic damage resilience on. And so that kind of is the exact same thing that I was talking about with the SMGs before in the previous video. It's just showing you in a different way. And that's why you're starting to see a lot of people run 4-piece sentry with a sniper rifle and backing off. And you're seeing people run assault rifles in here, but you see people standing a long ways back and shooting NPCs from a long ways away instead of running their normal SMG builds. The people that you do see running SMGs and getting up in the face of targets are kind of doing what I've been doing in previous videos with my Tacticians build, which is that they have a support player with them, like my tank build, that is providing smart cover or some kind of damage resistance buffs to them in some form. That way that they are tanky enough to get closer to the targets that they can maximize their DPS with their SMGs. And that's what I'm going to recommend to you for running your group composition, and I'm going to show you my build and what I'm running. And I think that so far the best combination of things that we've used in our group is honestly 2 players running tacticians and 2 players running DPS type oriented stuff. Now, I know a lot of people are starting to talk about in our group, and one of the conversations that we've been having is there is the potential that tacticians is OP. I'm going to say that, and I've said that before, that I think that I've said months when the set first came out that I thought that Tactician was probably the best set in the game, and that one of the reasons we never used it in PvP before is because the NPCs didn't have enough health for us to really get it procced up and have it up long enough. And now the NPCs have a ton of health, so Tacticians is extremely powerful in the DZ06 area. It's procced up a lot and almost the entire time, and it's extremely powerful, and it allows your team to get in the way closer to these NPCs and take way more damage than they were by using smart cover. And plus, if you start having more than one tactician person, you can already see where this is going. I put down my smart cover, which buffs my teammate, which starts doing more damage, which makes my tacticians go up faster, which makes my smart cover give him more damage boost and more damage resistance, which allows him to do more damage, and then he pops a pulse with his tacticians, which makes me do more damage, which makes his tacticians go up faster, which makes his pulse go up faster. And Tacticians stacks on itself. And this isn't a Tacticians review because I haven't done it yet, because I've said that I really wanted to play with this set for a long time before I did one, because I'm not the kind of guy that throws out a video about the best set in the game after I played with it for 3 hours. But these are the kind of things that I'm going to talk about in that video. And now, one of the things we've been talking about is potentially running 3 tactician sets and 1 sentry set. So we get the 45% bonus and 3 tac sets that are designed to do different things. One designed to do a lot of DPS, one designed to do the smart cover and some DPS, and maybe another that's designed maybe to do some DPS and do some things with healing or whatever, however you want to set it up. But what we've been doing right now is running 2 tactician sets. They're essentially kind of the same sets with different approaches to them. Jay runs one and I run one. We both have 300 300 toughness, We're both running 4-piece tacticians with final measure as our on our 2-piece, and so that gives us 50% damage resilience from there. I have 74% damage resilience, I think is the number. Jay is actually running 97% damage resilience. Now, there's some catches to that when you start messing with it and stuff, but this is essentially, I'll focus on my build specifically so I don't make it too complicated. My build, I am essentially running my original tank build, and all I've done is taken off my robust chest piece. I've gotten my armor mitigation up to 70%. Jay's is at 75 actually. So my armor mitigation is up to 70%, not 75. I'm running skill power on my mask and backpack, and obviously I have the skill power coming from the 4-piece tac. That's getting me up to the 25 or 26,000 skill power, just like my old tank build did. And then instead of running the huge amount of health, which was 130,000 on the old character, I've moved a bunch of that into firearms so that I have 2,600 firearms to proc all of my talents that I need for damage. And that's gotten my damage up into the 120,000, 130,000 range. But obviously that's a lot more damage once I get into my smart cover and all these buffs are going on from our skill power. And I think everyone understands that skill power is a huge buff to DPS at this point. And so I am essentially a support build that does decent DPS. And the main thing is that my teammates are able to do way more DPS because of my attack build, and it's a team-oriented thing. And so that's what I'm running. I'm running an SMG, which is my God-rolled SMG that it works so great, and that's increasing my damage against NPCs. And then what I've decided to do is run a really good assault rifle that I got dropped, and I'm running it as a PvP type gun, and to give me some range with my gun. that's more damage than my LMG. Now, when we're running 3 DPS and we don't have 2 tacticians, I'm actually mixing in my LMG on it to suppress targets, because suppressing targets is crowd control, and by crowd controlling, it allows my DPS players to shoot longer and more accurately and take less damage, which increases their DPS even further. When I say that, I mean actual in-game DPS. So I am mixing in my LMG with that and running an SMG, or actually a shotgun even when I run my LMG and we only have me in the group. I usually don't run a sticky bomb. And some of the parts here you've seen I've been running a sticky bomb. But I run a sticky bomb when Jay's in the group and he's our second support guy. He's running the healing station and mixing that in and out, and the pulse. I'm running the smart cover mainly just because I have all of my skill attributes on my gear is giving me buffs from that. And so that's kind of our gear. That's kind of our group composition. We're using the smart cover to move forward to get our guys into position, our DPS players into better position, into better ranges, so that they can do higher DPS, so they can still rely on some of their SMG damage. We're hopefully going to have a guy constantly using sentry with a sniper or sentry with a shotgun, so that we can get that 45% damage boost for the group. And it's a great group composition, especially for the Dark Zone 06. And this 300,000 toughness, 125,000 DPS, 25,000 skill, which ends up being 50,000 skill power. So essentially my build is 125,000 DPS, 300,000 toughness, and 51,000 skill power. And that's a pretty solid build, and it has 74% exotic damage resilience. And you can see in the video me taking just extreme amounts of fire damage. Another thing that we've been doing is sometimes running the support station that removes status effects. This causes you not to catch on fire, so if people do get hit by the flamethrower, it actually doesn't set them on fire for the DOT effect, and that's a lifesaver for a lot of people. It also takes away the disorient effect that can one-shot you in this area, so I recommend potentially running it most of the time. And then sometimes you have to switch it in and out for ammo, maybe if you guys are running low on ammo for some reason, but that shouldn't be a problem with the Lone Star switching those two, because you can put the Lone Star 2 pieces on and take it off and get ammo. People should be taking advantage of that. Also for the gun talents, I want to throw this in here at the end. The gun talents. There is the gun talent where killing an enemy increases your health by an X%. That talent is very useful in PvP now. You may want to consider it. The reason being is because the NPCs have so much health now, and that talent procs off of the NPC that you kill. Whatever you kill, that's what the health procs off of. Whether it's supposed to work like that, I don't know. It's not my problem. All I know is that if it says 6% health, it's giving you 6% of the level 34 guy's health. So when you kill something with one of these guns that has that talent on it, and it's available to you, it's literally almost 100% heal over time. It's kind of like the mask almost that existed, but nowhere near that OP. It's not that OP. You can't proc it on yourself or anything like that. You have to legitimately kill something with it. You do have to get the killing blow, so that's important to remember. But that's kind of a rundown of what we've been doing and what I think people are experiencing in here. These are the changes that I made to my tank build. This is the best gear in the game. This is where I recommend that you come. Get a guy in your group, or you do it yourself. Get a tactician build together. Let everybody else do whatever they want kind of for a while. They'll figure it out how important it is to them once they get in there and you're using it. Run smart cover and attack build is pretty much the bottom line here. And go in there and get you a shit ton of gear. And then have all the problems that I have right now. Because it's nothing but problems. I got 99 problems and gear ain't one. Alright guys, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. This is Gump. Take it easy.